terrorist. He's going to be called, he's going to be deported.
Well,
so the crime is different.
They won't be deported just for burning the American flag. That is a constitutional right.
Well, the least crime, he's going to be detained somehow.
Well, he'll certainly be looked down on.
Right.
And of course, if you're going to burn a flag, make sure you burn your own flag. Don't burn somebody else's.
Of course.
That is, but the truth is, those kinds of acts are startling in and of themselves. So I don't think that the consequences are going to be all that much more drastic just because it's a Muslim who does it, although it's a very strong statement, and I would not be recommending to my clients who are Islamic that they burn the flag. On the other hand, I would say if they want to speak against what's going on anywhere with the Palestinians or with the Iraqis, they speak out, but they make their case carefully, and they rely on solid facts the way you do. Those, and that's one example. Another way is get involved in government activities. Don't just make money. Take the money that you make and the advantage you have in the community by being prosperous, and serve on a civic board, head a scout troop, do something like this. In fact, if you look back at Dennis Rader, one of the things that gave him a certain cachet in the community, he was a scout leader. These are
he was a board trustee.
He was very active in his church.
2 churches.
And gradually people are beginning to recognize that the Islamic faith is here and established, and people like you who get involved with the Islamic community or active with your mosque are going to be respected for doing that.
I agree. Well, we have a lot of people on the line. We have Kelsey on line 2. Kelsey?
Hi.
Good evening.
How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
All right. I have a question for the attorney.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the government allowed to use secret evidence in court against the defendant as it did in the Al-Aria case in Florida?
Well, first, if you're talking about using it in court, that's a secret, and keeping the court closed, that's your classic star chamber that I was describing earlier. Now, if it comes out in court, it's no longer secret. So I'm not sure exactly what you're meaning, but I think you're talking about the claim that we have these reports and we can show them to the judge, but we can't show them to the defendant. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there is any precedent in the United States law that permits that, and I do think if that man is convicted and it goes to the United States Supreme Court, that conviction will not be upheld, because that would not be giving the defendant due process of law. Now, I'm just saying that in the abstract. I don't know what it is. I do know that in Germany recently, that man was convicted, but there was a charge that was based on reports that the United States did not want to let go of, and the first trial, he was convicted at the trial level, but his conviction was reversed because of the secret evidence. So I don't think that evidence will be permitted to be the basis for a conviction.
Okay, I have one more question.
Sure.
Can the government prohibit someone from leaving the country?
Well, obviously, if you're put in jail, yes, you can be prohibited.
I mean, like, when you go to the airport, you've already had your passport, and you've got your ticket and everything, and you get in line, and you don't have any, like, dangerous weapons or anything in your suitcases or whatever, and you're not intending to hijack a plane. Can they prevent you from traveling?
Well, I can see where if you're going to take a flight, like say United, and if your name is on a do not allow on board list, of which I understand is about 100,000 names on that list, and some of these are rather crazy. There was an 11-month-old child that wasn't allowed on an airplane recently. That can certainly at least interrupt your ability, but from the standpoint of, in the long run, can a judicial ruling that says you cannot leave the country for no reason other than we just don't want you to leave the country, no, that won't be permitted. On the other hand, if you are charged with a crime, then there can be restrictions placed on your travel. That probably not only would deny your ability to leave the country, you may not even be able to leave the county.
And how can you find out if your name is on a do not fly